Welcome back to Your Tribe. This is part 2 of our discussion focused on ownership and accountability. In the last episode, we discussed ownership from the perspective of owning our attitude, how we choose to show up, the impact we want on our environment, and the purpose for why we are dedicating our heart and time. This episode immediately picks up with a question relating to the difference between men and women in leadership and how we approach ownership and accountability differently. We also dig deep into the mental or emotional crutches we may lean on, which affect how we show up as a leader, team member, or influence relationships.
So clearly in this round, we're all women. So what we're talking about, is that a women versus men problem?
I'm glad you asked that, Brigida, because before we kicked this off, I would have said yes, but no, I don't think it is. I think it's an individual problem. We talked about boundaries when we first kicked this off. We talked about patterns of behavior. So I think it's dependent on the team or people or individual with whom you're working and what their framework is like. And my therapist used this great analogy with me years ago, and it has stuck with me. I use it with my kids. I use it at work. But it's kind of like, it's a rubber ball analogy. And I say it to my therapist, I can't remember her, who's a dog trainer. Anyway, it's this analogy of a rubber ball that's been built over bad behaviors with rubber bands. So over years, it started with one rubber band, and then it continued to grow into a rubber ball. And it's very hard to dismantle that rubber ball of bad behavior. So you have to start a new rubber ball and create rubber bands with new behaviors. And so we can't take these rubber balls from other individuals and their bad behaviors they've built up over time, but we can help them create a new one again, leading by example and creating that new band of rubber bands all together with a new ball.
I love that analogy. And now I see that new rubber band ball bouncing and really making a change that helps everyone, right? When I talk about change, I talk about a win-win-win, a win for the person that is leading the change, a win for the person that is changing. And then there's the whole, company or community or family that is impacted through that change. So it must be a win-win-win. The change cannot just be a win for the leader or a win for the company or a win for one person. It's got to be holistic. It's got to be a 3-part win.
I think it's easy. We were talking about this before when we're hashing out kind of the topic. There are certain crutches that people can lean on in terms of, well, I'm the last born in the family, so therefore I'm always seen as the baby, or I'm a woman in a male-dominated environment, so therefore there are certain stereotypes that are put upon me, and I don't know how to break out of that. Not me, but those are comments that people that we've heard people say. And I think when you can lean on the crutch and you can use that if you really want to, but at the same time, you could throw the crutch away and see how you can look at the situation differently. And is it the crutch, which is what is impacting or influencing your behavior, which is then influencing the behavior of the team. So all of us are women, as you can see here. All of us are in leadership, and I've said it, and I've leaned on the crutch a few times where, if I wasn't a woman, they wouldn't react to me this way. But how did my mentality of being a woman and how I entered the room and showed up impacted or influenced my behavior in that room? Was I more defensive? Was I a little bit more aggressive than I really needed to be? Was I not aggressive enough because I was afraid or whatever it was? And so determining, and I have a card over you can't see it, but because it's over my computer, but it reminds me, how do I want to show up? What things can I essentially let go of? And how do I want to show up? Do I want to show up joyful? Do I want to show up problem solving? Letting go of all the other stereotypes or crutches, how do I want to show up for the people that I'm with during the time that I'm with them? And that can influence and change so many things.
And when you truly step into your power, Kendall, and everyone, then people can see you as a threat, right? Amy said it earlier, change and threat is part of can be part of accountability, are definitely part of leadership. And it's okay, because when other people see you as a threat, that does not originate with you. That originates with whom? Them. So that's on them. That's not on you, right? So when you, because you have one responsibility, and that is what's in your control, is to show up 100% you. And when other people are threatened by it or pissed off by it or whatever it is that they're by it, that's okay, because that's on them. So that gives them an insight, if they're developed enough, gives them an insight, I got work to do.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with Your Tribe. Your Tribe provides different perspectives from our unique view of the world as pioneers, trailblazers, go-getters, professionals, leaders, friends, and so much more. Our discussions span from leadership, business, relationships, and personal growth, and everything in between. Do you have a topic you want to discuss with Your Tribe? Submit a topic by emailing Kendall Rawls at kendall@rawlsgroup.com. We will love your feedback and contribution. Your Tribe is produced by the Rawls Group Business Succession Planners.